Welcome to the Resilient Artist Podcast, your go-to space for wellness and success strategies tailored for musicians. Join us each week as we explore tips, tools, and stories to help you thrive in your music career while staying balanced and inspired. Let's dive into today's episode. Welcome back to the Resilient Artist Podcast, the podcast where we help musicians build sustainable careers without the burnout. I'm your host, Crystal McGrath.
And I'm Rachel. Today we're talking about something that can make or break your career, and that is having a business mindset as a musician. If you're treating your music like a hobby, it's going to pay you like one. If you want longevity, it's time to start thinking like a business owner.
Yeah, this topic separates the dreamers from the doers. If you're ready to shift your mindset and build a career, not just a side hustle, then this episode's for you.
Well, let's get straight to it. This is one of my favorite topics. This is what I like to focus on, helping musicians think about their career as a business, because it really does matter. So let's talk about why it matters. Well, first of all, you are your own brand. Labels, venues, and fans take you seriously when you do. So if you're not taking yourself seriously as a brand, they won't. So if you look at some of your favorite musicians, the ones that the successful ones that you feel have made it, look what they do. They are very much a brand, and it actually is quite obvious. Music is an industry, so understanding marketing, finances, and networking is key to success in this industry. And success is sustainable when it's strategic. Passion alone isn't enough. I sure wish it was. I wish I could tell you that passion and talent alone are enough, but sadly, you also need structure when you need a business mind.
Totally. If you're an artist, you're an entrepreneur. If you don't know that, then it's time to click into that mindset, because you're running your own brand, your own business. So you need to do your marketing, your finances, everything that has to do with building a brand in a business. You need to take control of it so that you know how you can succeed and scale as an artist.
That's right. Think about it. If someone handed you $1 million tomorrow for your music career, do you have a plan for how you would use it? And if that answer is no, you need to start thinking like a business. And, if you've been listening to our podcast for a little bit, you know that Crystal and I very much believe in the law of attraction. We very much believe in think and it will come. The universe will give you what you want if you're asking for it, kind of thing. And I was saying this to a client exactly this just the other day, that you will not get the success that you want if you don't have your basic business structure set up, because it energetically, well, and physically cannot survive if you do not have the structure set up to be able to sustain it. It's like you don't build a house without a really strong foundation set up first. So let's break down some core areas where musicians need to shift their mindset when it comes to their career and business. I know for many musicians, you're creative, right? You want to be creative, and that's what you're good at. And that's what you need to be good at for sure. But just kind of getting that business mindset is key. So we need to focus on branding and positioning. So first and foremost, who are you as an artist and what makes you stand out? There is a very saturated market out there. And, you need to do something to stand out. It just has to be, a different look, a different sound, a different attitude, just something that's going to have you stand out from the crowd. Sadly, in this industry, and really in most industries, average doesn't cut it.
Yeah.
Right? It just doesn't. You need something to stand out. Again, if you look at all of your, the people you look up to, they have a brand, right? They have got something that makes them stand out from the crowd. They've got a logo, they've got a color, they've got an attitude, they've got something where as soon as you see it, you know it's them, right? It's very obvious. So marketing and fan growth is another one. Marketing, marketing, marketing. So many musicians spend so much money on recording their music, right? And developing their music, and then have a zero marketing budget or a zero marketing plan. And that is backwards. It is truly backwards. It really should be more money spent on marketing, less money spent on other things. Social media nowadays, love it or hate it, social media is key. All right. It's how a lot of independent artists are making it big on their own without labels now. You've got to have it. Email lists. Like, it fascinates me how many musicians don't have email lists and ways to capture that connection with their personal fans. So I had to put it to this way by a mentor of mine a long time ago, and they said, think of social media as a place where you can capture, but you're renting your fan base. If Facebook and Instagram shut down tomorrow, would you have any way to contact your fans? And for the most people, the answer is no, right? Because you haven't taken them off social media and put them into your own personal list. Again, if you look at the big artists out there now, they're collecting your emails, they're getting you on a newsletter, right? They're getting you on a text list. That is how because they know that, social media is great right now, but it can be shut off tomorrow. So it's so important. And then having a content strategy. So, we're not sitting here saying you have to be an expert at all of these things, because it's absolutely impossible for someone to be good at everything. But this is why it's so important to think like a business, because think of businesses. It's rarely a one-man show. You often need to hire people or get people on your team that can help you do some of these things. Then we want to look at finances and revenue streams. So diversifying your income through streaming, merch, gigs, and licensing. There's so many ways that a musician can actually get revenue in. And it's just about thinking outside the box, right? Again, if you've listened to previous podcasts, Crystal has talked before about how she's thought outside of the box on how to, put an extra spin on the tour, how to get more places to book her in. And it's so important to do that. You just have to think a little bit differently. Networking and collaborations, not just about talents, about relationships, right? Again, it's a lot about who you know. And if people don't know who you are, they're not going to book you. They're not going to look at you. They're not going to think about you. And that's sadly the sad reality of it. And then having a clear plan, systems and organizations, having a clear plan for releasing music, pitching and booking. I love it when I see musicians releasing music. It's so easy now to just, drip a single out and you can put that out. But what saddens me when I see this is that there's no marketing campaign surrounding it, right? There's absolutely nothing, right? There's nothing surrounding it to generate some buzz, maybe have some merch attached to it, maybe have another opportunity for people to support you in some way. To me, you've spent thousands of dollars on recording this piece of music, which is phenomenal, and then nobody sees it. And there's no way to make any money off it, because we all know streaming doesn't pay a ton of money, right? For most people. So it's like having that system and organization and that system in place for a clear plan, and you know how to pitch it, you know how to book, and actually really use that piece of music to catapult you into other sources of income.
Most artists, they focus 90% on the music and 10% on the business. This is a huge problem because you're an entrepreneur, as we said before, and this is a business. So we need to flip that. And 90% should be focused on the marketing and the business side of things, 10% on the music. The music is just a product that you were selling in a business, right? So think about, a business that sells purses and all they did was focus on making the purse. How is anyone going to purchase that purse if that's all they've put all their energy into making this beautiful purse that has all these great features, but no plan on how to get it out to the masses? So that's a huge thing. If you're not focusing on the business part and creating a plan, you need to switch it. And that's the cold, hard truth, my friends.
Yeah, that's such a good example, because essentially the music is it's your product, right? It's the product that you're putting out there, and how are people learning about your product? I mean, again, even if you look at, the big independent artists or the big successful ones, I mean, they have massive marketing strategies and massive campaigns behind their releases, behind their tours. Like the amount, I would love to know what the actual numbers are on some of those big guys. I'm going to look it up, because I'm just
Yeah.
always fascinated by, how much money, and really think about how much money some of these musicians are setting even for their tours and their shows. And yet that's probably not where a lot of them make their money. A lot of them probably make their money on merch and other things, right? I mean, some of them probably will, but when you look at, what some of these other things are doing, other bands are doing, you'll start to realize, oh, wow, like their marketing campaigns and fan connection and ways to capture their fans is huge. So take a moment to just think about this for a moment. What is one area of your music business you've been neglecting? And when you take a really good hard look at that, you're going to go, oh, wait, I'm spending a ton of time on creating your music, which you need to do. We're not saying you shouldn't spend time on creating your music because you have to have
Right.
good product as well, right? You know, the better your product, obviously, the better, more successful you're going to have in general. And then I would suggest taking a look at and going, okay, can I do this? Do I have the know how? Do I have the capacity? Do I know how to do Facebook and Instagram ads? Do I know how to develop a marketing plan? And if that answer is no, that's completely fine. You don't have to learn it yourself, but try to find someone who has that know how and bring them on your team. You know, for years, I mean, I love being, you know, for years, I still probably do it a bit, going, you know, if you want to get it done right, you have to do it yourself. So I'm just going to learn how to do it all. Well, the problem with that is you can't do it all, right? At
No.
some point, you know, you just get burnt out. And, you know, as an artist, you don't want to get burnt out. You need that energy for creativity. You need that energy for going on tour. And what better opportunity than to hire someone, whether it's a
So
manager, whether it's a bookkeeper, whether it's just a marketing somebody to help with some of those things, and it'll take you and catapult you to that next level.
yeah, so make sure you include that in your plan and your budget to hire somebody. Have that budget in your plan to outsource some of this work, right? It's all part of the planning.
And it's part of the budget,
Yeah.
right? Just like you would budget for a tour, budget for marketing that tour. Because
Yeah.
again, if nobody knows that you're coming or you're there, you're
Oh,
right,
well. Yeah.
right. So so how do we actually shift into a business mindset? You know, being an entrepreneur is a grind. I mean, it's a hustle. And you know, those of us who are entrepreneurs, Crystal and I talk about this a lot. You've got your good days, you have your bad days, you've got the days you're like, why am I doing this? And then you've got the days going, man, I couldn't imagine doing anything else. Like, it just brings me so much joy. So there is definitely going to be your ups and downs, just like in any career and any industry. But first and foremost, set some clear goals. So we've talked about this numerous times on different episodes of the podcast. We talk about it in our book. You know, when clients work with us, we talk about that. Set clear goals. Know exactly where you're going. Otherwise, you'll never get there. You know, most people when they're going on vacation don't just show up at the airport. I mean, I guess that would be fun. Just point at
Sounds
something
fun. I've
and
always
go.
wanted to do that.
Right? But for most of the time, you have an idea of where you're going, right? You know your destination, you know what hotel you're going to stay at, you know if you're renting a car, you know exactly what you're going to do to get there. Then create a budget, even a small one. You know, it could be as simple as, so a lot of times I talk about budgets, people are like, what? Literally just know what's coming in and know what's going out. It doesn't have to be much more complicated than that. What are you making and what are you spending? Now, a lot of the times, if you start doing, you know, income and expenses report, you're going to start going, oh, wait, this tour is costing me money. But yet, there's so many other things that you can be doing while you're on tour. Maybe you're able to sell merch. Maybe you're able to connect with, you know, different people who are going to help you in different ways. So sometimes it's not always about the income and expenses, but it's nice to have a budget so that you know what's actually coming in and to see if it's feasible or not. Then it's important to build a fan base strategy. You've got your social media, you've got your email marketing, and then, of course, engaging with your fans. You know, it's not like back in the day where, you know, these bands made it big and then they acted like jerks whenever their fans came around and people still love them. It doesn't work that way anymore, right? People will write you off if you're not paying attention to them or if you're ignorant to them. It's just, it's the way of the world. So be good to your fans. They're the ones that are, you know, supporting you. And I say a lot to the people or the musicians I work with that your fans want to support you, you know, so give them opportunities to support you. Maybe it's putting your music online for them to purchase, having a cool shirt that they can buy and sport around the city for you. They want to support you. That is what fans do. Just like you want to support your favorite artists. Then develop multiple income streams. So as we already talked about, touring is a big one, merch is a big one. You know, different platforms like Patreon or another sort of membership account, I think is absolute crucial for
Yeah.
musicians now because and whether you're a coach, whether you're a musician, it doesn't really matter what industry you're in. These membership platforms can be extremely lucrative. They take a lot of work. Like, don't get me wrong, they're not necessarily an easy thing, but if you can really develop a good plan and strategy to maximize your fan base on those things, you will have super raving fans who are going to follow you no matter where you go and buy all the stuff you put out. Like, it's really neat. And then, of course, invest in yourself. It is so important to constantly be investing in yourself. Courses, coaches, networking events is critical. And I was actually just looking up grants the other day, and there's a lot of grants out there for professional development. You can get money to go to some of these networking events or to take a course. So it's definitely worth looking into.
Totally. Yeah, I know that one thing that really changed the game for me is having that clear budget and knowing where my money is going. Because so many years it was like, oh, I thought I made all this money. Where is it? Oh, it went to here or went to there, but I wasn't paying attention. So sometimes your money doesn't go to the right places when you're not paying attention to what you're spending or what's coming in. So as soon as I started paying attention to that, a lot of big shifts happened, and not only to, where my money was going, but also just how I started to feel about money. So just shifting that energy from, a lot of people are stressed when we talk about money. It kind of like sends a feeling through your body. But we want to talk about money. We want to get excited about money. Money's exciting, right? Like I want more money. Money is exciting. Money flows through me. Just another note on money is it's not something you're creating. It's something that you're tapping into. So stop thinking like I have to create more money. No, it's I need to tap into all this money that's floating around because we're not creating more money. We're just finding new ways to share it. So step into that flow.
Yeah,
And
money's
that,
very, very energetic, as you said.
yeah. So I love kind of that aspect and just having a clear plan on my business on what's happening.
100%. I mean, one book that I really like to read, it kind of got me out of that hide my head in the sand. I don't want to know what's coming in, don't know what's
Yeah.
coming out. By doing that, it got me in a lot of financial trouble back in the day. And when I was struggling financially, this was quite a few, I don't know, a decade or so ago now. And I'm thinking, why is this happening to me? And blah, blah, blah. And it was happening to me because I had to learn how to respect money. I had to learn how to make those budgets and I had to learn how to pay attention. And as soon as I started to pay attention, it shifted. It completely shifted. So now I don't get as gross, like that gross feeling of I don't want to look at my bank account. It's like, okay, we're good. Bills can be paid, this and that. The
Okay.
Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. That's what
Yeah,
actually
that's a
got
good.
me. I
Yep.
love that one because it got me thinking about that. You know, what I liked about that is that knowing where your money is and not hoarding it, but not overspending it. It was kind of finding that balance of you're making money, you deserve to spend it. So give yourself that opportunity to enjoy it. But then, don't go overboard. But then people can go in the other direction going, I don't want to spend it. I don't want to spend it. I don't want to spend it. And then you kind of go, well, that's not good energy either, right? It's that give and take, it's that natural flow of energy. So, I think it's really important that when you as an artist start treating your music like a business, that's when everything's going to change for you. And that's actually a big reason why I got into the business of what I do, with White Raven Management, because I realized I was presented with an opportunity that, basically it was like, musicians don't really understand what's going on in the business side of their career. And I can help with that. I've got that business background and I'm going, oh, this doesn't make sense to me. Why wouldn't they? But it's easy for me, right? It's easy for me because I've learned how to do it.
Mhm.
But I'm not a creative, right? So if you said, okay, sit down and write a song, that wouldn't happen, right? It's just, Crystal's the creative. I'm not. I mean, I am in different ways,
Learn skill,
but
right? Just like business, it's a learned skill. You can learn how to be
I
creative.
suppose,
Yeah.
yeah.
And
I
you
mean,
can run a business.
I've written
Yeah.
books, just can't write songs.
Yeah.
So, but every indie artist, I love watching indie artists right now, and there's so many on TikTok, as many of you know. There's some really good ones out there, and man, have they ever got their marketing on point? Now, for some of them I follow, like they might not be for everyone, but they are different and they know exactly who their target market is. They know exactly who's going to be listening and who won't be, and they're okay with that. Because you remember, not everyone's going to love you. That's another part of it too, is that you need to understand who your target market is, and then don't care about anybody else because they don't matter in
Exactly.
this sense. Like your target is the one that matters, no one else. Let's say if you're a death metal band, you're not targeting, you
Me.
know, yeah, like you're not targeting people who love pop music usually, right? It's a very specific, again, if you are a country artist, you need to have a country brand,
Yep.
right? If you're a death metal artist, you have a death metal brand. I mean, it's just the way it is, right? So the artists who are crushing it right now, whether they're indie, whether they're in a label, they're strategizing. They have an exact plan. They know exactly who they're targeting, how they're going to do it, when they're going to do it. They're not just hoping for the best.
Totally, totally. So if you guys take one thing away from today, it is that you are a business, your music career is a business, and you are the CEO. Okay, you are the CEO, the owner of your business, and it is up to you to take charge and to strategize. And once you start thinking that way, you're going to notice a lot of results start to shift and change for you for the better.
Yes, and if you need help with strategy, mindset, building a sustainable career, grab our book, The Resilient Artist. It's packed with insights on how to navigate this industry while staying grounded and healthy. And many people don't know, but you actually can book a strategy session with Crystal or I to go through some of this stuff. And so I think that's something that, if you are struggling a little bit, take advantage of that as well.
Totally. And you can grab our book, The Resilient Artist, on Amazon. So make sure you check it out. Leave a review if you have it. We'd love to hear what you think. And make sure you follow us on socials because we love connecting. Send us a DM, say hi, let us know your favorite episode or favorite part of this episode today. And we can't wait to chat with you soon.
Yes, and until next time, everyone, keep creating, keep building. And remember, you are not just an artist, you're a business owner.
Thanks for tuning in to the Resilient Artist Podcast. If you've enjoyed today's episode, be sure to follow, like, and share this podcast with your fellow musicians. Your support helps us grow and reach more artists just like you. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode and leave us a review to let us know what you think. Ready to take your wellness journey to the next level? Join the Artist Wellness Collective at www.artistwellnesscollective.com for more resources, community, and support designed to help musicians thrive. Until next time, keep creating and living your best artistic life.